Malcolm Gladwell published an incredible book in 2000 where he talked about ideas, products, messages and behaviors in our history that reached a point where they suddenly became so big that they had a huge impact on the world and its people. He compared it to a contagious epidemic that spread like a wildfire or like a virus. He called that one dramatic moment when everything can change all at once, the tipping point. This term, the tipping point, became very popular and has since been used widely in all kinds of, almost every context imaginable. So because my work is all about cultivating resilience through all kinds of adversities, I want to share with you some signs that indicate when you might be at your own emotional tipping point. Being able to recognize these signs will enable you to evaluate your situation and take appropriate action to do one of two things. You can either take appropriate action to avoid tipping over and having a complete nervous breakdown, or you can take appropriate action to go beyond your tipping point and to really make a dramatic change for the better. When you do that, your new behavior, your new ideas, the new messages you're going to be giving to the people around you will have an equally big impact on your life. And believe me, it can spread like a good viral cure. So a tipping point can be a good thing. It's not something that builds up slowly and gradually. It happens suddenly. That's why it's important to be able to note and identify when you are approaching that point. So here are some of the signs that you might be at your emotional tipping point. If you are short-tempered and you lose it easily, that might very well be a sign. If you might be irritable and you feel like everything bothers you. Another sign might be when you start feeling as if you really couldn't care less about anything or anyone anymore. You might also have lost interest in the things that you used to enjoy. And also, if you get to a stage where you start seeking solitude instead of spending time with people, that might also be a sign. When your close relationships start becoming challenging or just too challenging for you that you avoid interaction, that could also be a sign that you are near your emotional tipping point. And also, especially if you start using alcohol or drugs to escape from your reality, that is definitely a sign that you reached or are reaching your emotional tipping point. Another example would be if you don't show up at important events and you just make lame excuses for it. And obviously, if the quality of your work deteriorates, you are also nearing your emotional tipping point. And finally, if you are really at a point where you're abandoning your goals and your dreams, that tipping point is very near. So be aware of these things, look out for them, and make sure that you can identify when they happen and when these changes come. And then I want to read a final piece out of the tipping point to quote Malcolm Gladwell, where he says, "In the end, tipping points are a reaffirmation of the potential for change and the power of intelligent action. What underlies it all is a bedrock of belief that change is possible, that people can radically transform their behavior or their beliefs in the face of the right kind of impetus." So my invitation to you is get up and grow with me. I'm Sinta Ebersohn, and I invite you to learn with me how to cultivate resilience and to see your tipping point